Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 1 of the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing gaming podcast from the Goodnight Groofs. My name is Matt, and today I'm joined by Mike, Paul, and Josh. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Absolutely wonderful. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Mike, are you happy to be here with the Groofs today? How are you feeling about this?
Terribly disappointed.
All right.
I'm feeling pretty good.
All right, awesome. Paul, how about you? How are you feeling about this thing?
I'm feeling grand today. I'm having a great day. It's extra blue in here, maybe on theme for the podcast. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know why blue would be on theme, but Josh, how are you feeling about this whole thing?
Like a cat in heat, and I'm howling and having a blast.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I'm happy to be here.
So,
what are they blasting?
You know, who knows?
All right, moving on.
You know.
So, this is the Game Groofs podcast. As I said, this is our flagship, we'll call it, gaming podcast with the Goodnight Groofs. We're just going to go through and see how this goes for episode 1 here. We've got some segments planned out. We've got some talking points planned out. It's going to be casual, laid back, and we'll see how things go. First, I want to start off with just talking a little bit about what we've been playing. Josh, what have you been playing this week?
Oh boy, what has Josh been playing? What has Josh been playing since he was 15 and until the heat death of the universe? Probably. I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft, retail, classic, both. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy, but more interestingly than that, I've been playing Outer Worlds. And finally trying to beat that with Outer Worlds 2 being announced. So that's really been it for me. It's been a heck of a lot of fun though. I've enjoyed Outer Worlds quite a bit.
I think you've got some time before Outer Worlds 2. I think it's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
So I think you're good in that front.
Yeah, I think so.
Is it? I've heard it's like really like Fallout, like a lot of the same DNA. Does it feel like that?
It feels almost like exactly like New Vegas, just without all the depth, basically.
Okay.
Is how I would describe it. It's fun, though. It's a unique take, and I think Outer Worlds 2 will probably just expand on it, honestly.
That makes sense. Same dev team, right? Obsidian did New Vegas, I believe.
Yep. Tim Kaine, that whole group.
Awesome. Mike, what about you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing some WoW Classic, not a ton, but I've been playing a lot of Papers, Please.
Ooh,
Pick
nice.
that back up.
Oh yeah.
And I just purchased early access on Phantom Abyss.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm hoping to check that
okay.
out.
That's the like the procedurally generated. Only one person can win, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks great. It looks very
cool.
Mirror's Edge meets Portal, kind of.
Yeah,
with
okay.
The puzzles and the traps. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Nice.
So
I used to play a lot of, like, when iPhones were first big, I played a lot of Temple Run. And, like, that in a way reminded me of that, but like a competitive version of that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to try that out. Paul, what about you? What have you been on?
For sure. I would be lying if I didn't complete the trilogy and say that I've been playing a lot of WoW Classic this week. There seems to be a cross-section of who we've gotten together to run this. The people who are basically masochists of gaming. I've been playing some WoW Classic, started a Troll Hunter, having a great time. I'm falling off, but I'm trying to get back on the horse for that. I can't bring myself to play retail right now, mainly because I just can't wait to install it. It's the whole thing. And I've been playing some mobile games. I pulled Realm Grinder back out on Android. Been having fun with that. I started playing this game called Post Night. All very addictive, like idle games. So that's been taking up a lot of my time while I binge watch television. And I also am I'm replaying some Monster Prom in fun anticipation of eventually buying Monster Prom 2. So it's a good time. A lot of casual stuff this week, but hopefully something a little more interesting next week.
Realm Grinder is a mobile ass name for a mobile game.
Yeah, I think it's actually like mainly a PC game, but
Really?
it's got an Android port now. But it's a clicker with like endless prestiging. It's pretty fun.
All right. Well, part 4 WoW Classic.
Yes.
I've also been playing a little bit of WoW Classic. Need to get back in, but been enjoying that. Some of you guys have said, I'm just enjoying it more than retail. Like it's just there's just more. I feel like from a difficulty standpoint, there's more to pay attention to. There's fewer systems to be bogged down by. It's just old school level up, do quests. It's just the good old school MMO feel. Also been playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which is awesome. I'm loving that game. It makes really good use of the DualSense. It really just feels like a next gen version of the 2016 Ratchet and Clank. Are you guys how familiar are you guys with the Ratchet and Clank series?
All I know is the most current one looks beautiful, but that's about all I know. I was a Jack and Daxter guy personally.
Same.
I'm fairly well versed in Ratchet and Clank, so I actually my PS5 shows up in 4 days
All right.
with Ratchet and Clank.
Nice.
So
Congrats.
I don't know if I'm gonna dive into it first because it also comes with Spider-Man, but I will have to make that decision.
It's funny that you mentioned that because earlier today on the replay that we recorded, we were talking about how Ratchet and Clank actually sold more copies in the second week than it did in the first week because it's now bundled with PS5s.
Oh yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting and kind of funny that you are actually part of that number.
Yep.
Well, good. That's awesome. Some good stuff. Everyone's playing WoW and a little bit of extra stuff on the side. Very good. Well, now we'll move on to the non-comprehensive news is what we're calling it. Okay, if you want comprehensive news, if you want a comprehensive news source, check out the GG replay. Okay, we cover more news stories, we go in depth, we break it down. But here we're going to discuss the news a little bit more than just breaking it for you. Okay.
The old NCN, as it were.
Yeah. Yes. The non-comprehensive news, the NCN. We're going over 3 news stories each week. That's the plan. Of course, all these plans are in flux, but that's what we're starting off with. Number 1, Starfield has a release date. It's coming out November 11th, 2022. It's about a year and a half away. Kind of unfamiliar territory for Bethesda to have a release date for a game that far out. We saw some in-engine footage, which opened the Xbox and Bethesda E3 showcase. Josh, as a resident follower of Todd, the God Howard,
You could say that.
what did you think?
I think here's the tough thing with Starfield is I'm naturally already excited for it. I mean, my cat is literally named Todd Howard. So needless to say, I'm excited, but there's not really a whole lot to glean from it other than the exploration will probably be pretty good. Hopefully the combat will be at least Fallout 4 levels of decent. And then maybe the story will be a little better than Fallout 4. So I'm excited for it regardless. I think it's gonna be good. I just really it was hard to glean anything from it. It was like it said it's in-engine footage, but it was just kind of a cinematic that we'll probably see when we're playing the game or something. So I'm excited, but I'm not really sure what kind of to glean from it outside of maybe it's like No Man's Sky, maybe it's Fallout No Man's Sky mixed. I don't know.
I will say when I saw the human character walking just like for a split second, I was like, that's a Bethesda character walking. Like that just looks like a Bethesda engine.
There's one distinct scene where in the actual like cutscene, it goes to an area that looks identical to my mind to a Fallout 4 vault. Like from the pipes to the like ground, concrete, everything about it. I was like, I'm just in a Fallout 4 vault right now. But I think that's just because of the upgraded engine. Who knows?
Mike, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I watched the trailer, and I mean, it was what everyone wanted to see. But after it got over, I was like, "Great," but you didn't tell me anything.
Right.
I already knew it was in space. I already knew it was going to be an exploration game because it's Bethesda. The biggest thing that might spark some amount of intrigue was they talked about what sounded like a faction called the Constellations, I think.
Yeah, that was mentioned.
So there might be like a faction system involved, but like again, we're just guessing because we didn't see anything. We saw you take off a planet. Okay.
Right.
And I'm nervous about the 11/11 date because that's kind of aggressive. It's an aggressive like this is the date. Like not really not saying late 2022 or just 2022, but saying here's the day. Like that after Cyberpunk, I'm just like, that feels a little optimistic to select a date this early. But who knows? Maybe it's further in development than we know. If it is, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more from the trailer. But again, I'm skeptical. After Fallout 76, I'm going to be skeptical. I think I'm a little bit more optimistic now that Microsoft is more involved. I kind of trust that the Todd Howard, Phil Spencer can work together to make good decisions. But jury's out for right now.
Yeah, same thing. I would have liked to have seen more from it, and I really did think it was weird that they gave it a release date. Like you could say the release date a year from now, and it could still be your 11/11. But like, why did you feel the need to give it a date right now? That just felt kind of weird. But yeah, like I want to see more. I don't know. Like, I assume it's some sort of like first person shooter, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't actually know.
I'm really surprised we didn't see any gameplay. Actually,
they showed a gun. Is it
right?
Fallout shooting? Is it Mass Effect shooting? Who knows?
Right.
Also, I kind of wish 11/11 was saved for ES6. Just saying.
Well, that can be saved for ES6 in 2032 or something, and then they can use 11/11 again.
That's true.
Paul, what did you think of Starfield?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way, especially like what Mike was saying. Cool, there's a cinematic trailer. It's in engine, but I mean, they can always polish Creation Engine and make it look half decent for a trailer, but I want to see gameplay, especially when we've been waiting so long for something from Bethesda, whether it's ES6 or Starfield or just something that's real, that's tangible. In terms of just speaking on what you guys were talking about, I think with the 11/11 date, it almost feels like they're trying to evoke that feeling that they had with their earlier launches, where they go like, and this game's coming out November 11th, like in 5 months, and it gives that feel. But the problem is it's a year and a half from now, so it doesn't give that same feel. But I think they're trying to give that feeling where they really like nail down a date, and so you feel like it's coming soon, but it's really not. And yeah, I totally agree with what you were saying, Josh, with the pipes and everything else. I got a huge Fallout Vault vibe. The way the windows were shaped, the knickknacks on the shelves. It just had that whole vibe to it. One thing I also noticed, which I feel like I haven't seen enough people talking about, it definitely had like to me like a Mass Effect vibe, a Mass Effect like Andromeda vibe. Actually, I tried playing some Andromeda recently, and I really felt like there was this. If I Josh, like,
I'm
not saying Andromeda is good, but I'm just saying that there's this kind of like hopeful going into space, going to this new, this new galaxy so far away, and like starting this new adventure, and just like this ragtag. And I don't know, I felt like, to me, I felt kind of some of that optimism and that space optimism in this, which I kind of felt Andromeda really was focused on. Kind of like almost in a vault that's also a spaceship, but again. I mean, there's unfortunately not a whole lot to talk about besides the fact that we wish there was more to talk about, and how weird that is.
I think you just coined a new genre, which is space optimism.
Yeah, I don't know. It's...
I actually really like that. I can
too,
totally
yeah.
see a whole lineup of games just in the space optimism genre.
Yeah. Also, one last thing, but has anyone ever? I noticed at one point I was watching Todd Howard come on stage, or I think it was Phil Spencer, and I said I haven't seen Phil Spencer yet because I assumed it was Todd Howard. I know they don't look like the same if you put them side by side, but if you're just like, I don't know, shortish, brown hair, white guy, middle age, I'm like, have anyone seen them in the same room? Is my question. And do we know the backroom deals of how this acquisition went? Because I think they might have just been the same guy the whole time.
Look, if Todd Howard walks out in a sports coat, that's that.
Yeah.
It could be Phil Spencer. Who knows?
They may be the same
100%.
guy. Hey, Todd, would you like to sign this acquisition deal? Why, sure, Todd. I would love to sign this acquisition deal.
This is when.
What a deal.
Yeah, exactly. Any final thoughts on Starfield, or are we ready to move on?
I just want to be good, man.
Yeah, I just hope it's
Yeah,
good.
pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. Just please don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Speaking of space optimism,
Oh God.
Ubisoft finally. That's all it took.
Is it that you're optimistic? Because I don't know if okay,
Ubisoft finally revealed the Avatar game, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which has been in production since before 2017, when it was first announced at GDC. I'm wondering what your thoughts on this project are. Does the idea of an Avatar game excite any of you? Raise your hand if it does. All right.
For those, if you were listening to the audio version of this podcast, no hands were raised, but Matt's.
So I'm excited for an Avatar game because, first off, okay, well, let's put this out there. The movie's not the greatest movie in the world. Okay, it creates a neat world. It creates a beautiful world that I would like to explore, and that's all about. That's what a Ubisoft game is for me, is exploration. Okay, so that's why I'm mostly excited for this. This is being developed by Ubisoft's Massive Entertainment. They're best known for The Division and The Division 2. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for this game. But Massive is also the team behind Ubisoft's Star Wars project, which now seems like it's probably going to be a long ways off considering Avatar has to come first. So what are we thinking? What are the general thoughts on this game? I was excited to see this. I had totally forgotten about it. As soon as it came up, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. They've been working on this game for a while. It's just been they've been totally silent on it. I'm excited, but I'm probably the biggest Ubisoft game fan on this panel.
See, I feel vindicated here because I always feel like everyone still cares about Avatar for some reason because the media seems to make it seem like that's the case. And I'm glad here there's like a 3-on-1 that I'm not the crazy one who's like, why does anyone care about Avatar 10 years later, 12 years later? I never saw Avatar in theaters, so I missed the one time it would be good to watch.
So you're like the one person then.
No, but like it just, even then it just didn't appeal to me.
You didn't see it in theaters, Mike?
I didn't either.
No.
Well, okay, what the shit?
It's
the highest grossing movie of all time.
But the story sucks, which I've heard it did. I didn't want to watch it. And so I just don't care. And to me, the visuals of the Na'vi, I think the Na'vi look doofy as heck. I mean, the actual place, like I'm sure, like the actual what's it, Pandora is cool. They made that Disney World's land out of it.
Yeah,
I think that's the new park they're coming out with, Disney World Land, and that was pretty cool. But I mean, it's this thing where James Cameron's like, the second Avatar is coming out, and then it's been like 12 years, and he's like, it's almost here, is it? It just feels weird that they're trying to like make us feel like we care about Avatar, but we don't care about Avatar. Stop pretending that we care about Avatar. Sorry, I have an Avatar soapbox.
I do think the Na'vi do look kind of goofy, and I wonder if like the people who designed the Na'vi 12 years ago now are like, well, shit, we kind of just have to go with this for these next 3 movies or whatever. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I'm in the same boat as Paul. I didn't care when the movie was announced. I didn't go see it. I watched it later because I think my parents bought the DVD and I watched it.
We also have a Blu-ray of it at my house, but no one ever opened the Blu-ray. It's in the plastic.
I mean, it's not the greatest story. It's very much like, it's super basic. Like, it very much is.
It was setting up sequels, man.
It's Pocahontas in space.
It's Pocahontas in
Exactly.
space, but it's like we picked the basic safe story so that we could show you all this beautiful stuff. Great, but like, I just did not care. It doesn't do it for me. I guess like visuals in movies like that, I just was like, oh, cool, James Cameron, thanks.
Josh, what do you think?
I mean, I'm just gonna keep on echoing the same big old echo chamber in the bitch. So I get the sentiment of it looks really pretty because I mean it did at the time when it released. It was really pretty. Even watching it on Blu-ray, it looked good. It's a nice looking movie, but it's basic. It's just like, who cares? Like, no offense, Matt, But like, I saw that got announced, and it was just like this double whammy. It's this double whammy of, all right, it's Avatar. Apparently, James Cameron has 9 of those things down the line ready to come out. Still ain't seen the second one, by the way. And what the first one was 2009. Not only that, it's being developed by Ubisoft, and I have just lost all faith in them. I think with their Far Cry games and such, not to get too far off the rails, they've made strides, but not enough for me to be confident to think that this is going to be anything worthwhile except like a cash grab using a name that, to my mind, just feels outdated at this point. Like, movies look like Avatar now, and it's 2021, so why do I give a damn about a 2009 movie? I don't know. I don't care. I have so many other games I'm trying to play with as packed out as 2022 is going to be. I can't be bothered to worry about Avatar and like the humans and the blue people. I just do not care.
Yeah,
I get it. I totally get the attitude that you guys have towards this because, and you're definitely not alone. I would say I'm probably in the minority in being excited for this game. I think Ubisoft probably expected a reversal in that. But I am excited just to explore the world because I do think that the world and the idea of exploring the world of Pandora could be really intriguing, and I do like the Ubisoft games where you go around, climb towers, find stuff, just have a million different collectibles. That's just my kind of game for whatever reason. I like the Far Cry games. I like the Assassin's Creed games. I like all that good stuff. I haven't played the Division or the Division 2, so I don't really have a reference for Massive Entertainment's recent games. But Mike, it looks like you're going to say something.
Well, like I'm in the same boat. I do like Assassin's Creed, Matt. You know that. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I like the Far Cry series. I thought it had some weak points where it just felt like it was copying the formula, but there were some strong entries into the series. The Division and the Division 2, though, did me dirty twice.
Yep.
So I see that name tied to a game, and I am skeptical.
Like
So-
I can't personally wait for the part in Avatar where I shoot an alligator 400 times. Really gonna be a big moment for me.
Can't wait to climb all those trees, skin all the animals native to Pandora. Yeah, looking forward to it. Anyway, if that's all we've got, let's continue
I
our.
have one last
yes,
point
yes.
here, just really quick. Do we think this is going to make up for the M. Night Shyamalan movie? And who do we think is going? Are we going to play as Aang, or what's the deal here?
No. It's Ong.
All right.
Like
You know what?
Tongs?
I would love a Last Airbender game, though. I would love that.
Well, they have all those weird, no, I say weird. I shouldn't say that, but like those people who are like making the versions in dreams and stuff, and trying to make their own Airbender,
God.
Last Airbender game, and they look fine, but it's just like you can only go so far.
This is what we've come to. I'm so desperate for a Last Airbender game that we're like, dreams, baby, this is it.
It's my scuffed ass Avatar game.
Unity was too hard. We're going in dreams, and then if the game is good enough, then they'll buy us. That was their dream.
Oh my God.
Yeah, put your 20,000 hours of work into that, and then get the cease and desist.
And then the Fire Nation will attack and cease and desist you.
All right. Further exploring our space optimism theme, we got our first big look at Halo Infinite and the multiplayer specifically. There was 12-minute sort of a deep dive. I want to know if the panel is intrigued, if free-to-play is going to be a good or bad thing. Paul, what are your thoughts?
Thrown to me. I wasn't ready. It's just the newest Call of Duty, I think, right? Yeah, it looks fun. It looks really cool. I don't know. It looks like a return to form for a classic arena shooter. We don't really, I think gaming and shooters have seemed to evolve beyond the original kind of Halo. And I think for a while they were chasing that new FPS. And I think they've learned and realized, and by they I mean 343, after trying to like reinvent the wheel a million times, that they just need to make a classic Halo Arena shooter. But something they have learned, which is so cool, is to take some of the systems, not in the actual gameplay, but of how to play the game, from a lot of the newer games, things like Apex Legends and Fortnite and a lot of these battle royale games, things like having a battle pass, having a free multiplayer, having cosmetic upgrades be the main pricing model. I think is awesome. I think this is the perfect thing for them to do, to make the gameplay classic Halo, and then to add in all the fun extra stuff and the addictive stuff people are used to, from all the modern games. Totally sold. I think I think this is a slam dunk. I think the biggest problem that they're going to have, is just getting anyone to actually shell out a full game price for just the campaign of Halo, which are typically pretty short, and we're hearing possibilities of that. 343's campaigns aren't known to be like the best campaigns in Halo history. It's supposed to be a big thing for newcomers, but I don't know. I think that's going to be their big hurdle, and I think Game Pass is going to be great for that. I think that having it on there, they're not going to have to worry so much about it selling. But I think unless you're on Game Pass, I feel it's unlikely that anyone's actually going to. I feel like the people who would pay full price for single player Halo probably already have Game Pass, so it's going to get very few single player buys.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, the people who are going to buy it already have Game Pass.
They're Microsoft they're Xbox fanboys, I feel like, and they're going to be on Game Pass.
Real quick, I want to mention you mentioned the battle royale stuff. Is it blasphemous for me to want a battle royale mode in Halo Infinite? Is that blasphemy?
I think it's neat. I think that's
Yeah.
Every other game has it. Like, I mean, as long as it doesn't take away from the detriment of the development of the actual like arena shooter, which it is, like, sure, go for it, dude.
Exactly. As long as it doesn't take away from the main multiplayer, I think that's awesome.
Mike, what are your thoughts on the multiplayer in Halo Infinite?
I'm here for it. I mean, free to play is good. I think this is going to be a trend going forward, and I think they really kind of laid down the gauntlet for the Battlefields and the Call of Duties. It's like, Halo's free to play multiplayer. Why aren't you?
Yeah.
So I think it's good. I worry that this might be the last Halo campaign that we see, because I'm not going to pay $70 for it.
No way.
It will probably come to Game Pass, but I mean, if that's the only place that's getting plays, I don't see 343 developing another campaign, which might be fine. In all honesty, I feel like John's story has been dragged out and through the mud enough at this point. We can kind of put the horse to rest.
I agree
and
on
stop
that.
beating it over and over and over. I feel like even in the campaign stuff that they showed, I feel like, because I didn't play Guardians or 5 or whatever you want to call it, I played 4 partway through and it wasn't good. I felt like Cortana was dying in 4 and probably dying in 5.
The story in 4 was that Cortana was dying and going rampant. In story in 5 is that she was the big bad guy, but also dying and going rampant. And now in 6, that is once again the story.
When are they just gonna kill her?
They can't break with like this. They have to do the same thing over and over again because they don't want to take anything away.
They had 3 different ideas for the same storyline, so they just want to use it all up.
Yeah, it'd be cool if Cortana went rampant this way. Okay, now here's a different way that she could have done it, but it's chronological. Don't worry.
Like, if it's on Game Pass, which I assume it will be, I'll probably play the campaign just to see what happens. But yeah, I'm very happy about the free to play multiplayer. I think that's a smart decision. I think it's gonna be a slam dunk. I think Battle Pass is gonna be a huge thing for Microsoft going forward in 343.
Josh, what do you think?
I'm going to echo a lot of similar sentiments. I think free-to-play is good. The only thing that really concerns me about it is I really like being able to, like, unlock everything in a Halo game just because I own the Halo game. Like, if there is an option to purchase and just have everything, I'm probably going to do it because I'm going to play it enough that I can justify it. And that's, I'd say, the only thing that concerns me. Other than that, I think it's great, a wonderful idea, and I think like Mike said, make Call of Duty and Battlefield continue to make these strides to be free. I think generally it's a business model that benefits the consumer, and I think that it works better down the long haul. So I'm interested to see what they do with Halo 5's multiplayer. I like the grappling hook. The shooting mechanics look satisfying. They look a little more tight than Halo 5's did. And I did not like Halo 5, and I love Halo. Campaign wise, I'm excited. I mean, it's like Master Chief. Like I simp for like Daddy Chief. And at every moment I get. So I mean, I'm excited for it, but I'm also with you guys. I think it's time. Maybe if not this one, maybe the next one. Call it quits. Wrap it up. Bring a new character in. I don't know who. Bring a new character in. You got options. Just make another really strong Spartan. Bada boom. There you go. Toss it out there. I don't know.
I
I'm
think
looking
that's
forward
exactly
to
it too. When you look at like the games that were really like the best games after 3, it was like ODST and Reach had these like really interesting stories that
Exactly.
went different than Chiefs, and I think that's a really great way to go. There's such a rich universe.
Yeah, and Reach was honestly one of the best and most I'd say critically praised out of all
Yeah.
most of the Halo games too. So I'm excited for it. I mean, it's a Halo game. I'm gonna play it. I even liked Halo 4, so that's not saying much, but I'm looking forward to it quite a bit.
You say that you like owning everything because you own the game and you can unlock everything. What are your thoughts on their battle pass not expiring?
Yeah.
That's okay to me.
Right.
You get it, and that's that. Like it's done. Compared to other battle passes, just for example, the demon that is Fallout 76. There's just 1,000 of them. Mind you, they're free, but it almost kind of feels like when they have purchasable battle passes, it's like Destiny seasons. It's like you're basically paying a sub fee, for a game that isn't like an MMO or something. It's just a shooter. So I can swing with that as well.
Yeah, I love that. I was gonna bring that up too because I as someone who plays like casually some Fortnite, I find that the seasons suck. Like you get really excited for the new season, you play for like a week straight, you get really into it. You stop playing, and then like 2 weeks before the next season starts up again, you're like, oh no, I better go and like get all the stuff in the battle pass, and then you end up not getting half the stuff in the battle pass, and you wasted like some dollars, not a lot of dollars, but it's awesome to just be able to continue working on what you're working on and come back later. I mean, it's so funny to say that's revolutionary, but I mean, it is. It's just so much better than the money grab that is current seasonal battle passes.
It feels like a healthier FOMO, I think, compared to what we currently have, which is just buy the whole thing, idiot.
Yeah.
From what I understand, they have a similar battle pass type system already in MCC. I don't actually like I've played MCC, but I haven't like gone into that side of things. So, does anyone have any experience with that on this panel?
I've just played it super casually.
Okay, yeah. So
I played it when it came out and the networks didn't work for like a year. So that's my experience with MCC. Unbridled excitement, and then just like night after night of just waiting for it to work.
What a nightmare.
So the last question to ask in regards to this is, we saw they gave Starfield a date, but they gave Halo Infinite a release window for holiday 2021. That to me implies two things. One, they really are not confident. And two, I think we could potentially see the campaign and the multiplayer released at different times. Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are when I saw that, because holiday 2021 is in a couple months. My guess is that they're worried about servers. They're unsure what their server load is going to look like. They're unsure that their multiplayer servers are going to be ready, and they want to make sure that they have them in a stable environment so that when they release, people can play multiplayer immediately. I wouldn't be surprised if multiplayer did get delayed, but the single player doesn't. That seems very reasonable to me.
What about you, Josh?
I honestly, I could see the campaign coming out, hype people up, maybe encourage someone to spend a little bit of that money that they may not spend otherwise. But my general consensus, if you're on Halo, I'm interested to see how many people actually have Game Pass that are on Xbox. Because I feel like that would be a detriment, or not. I'm not really sure how those financials work out, but I would see the campaign releasing first, and then maybe January 2022 multiplayer maybe hitting to avoid that Call of Duty and Battlefield slaughterhouse that's going to transpire in between that time period.
I feel the exact opposite.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
just gonna say, I feel like it's gonna be multiplayer first. I think they know that multiplayer is what people actually. I mean, let's be honest. There's diehard Halo people who want to see the campaign. But that being said, I just feel like they're so not confident in that campaign. It's just been lambasted. It keeps getting taken down. The people who are diehard Halo fans keep saying, "I'm not sure about how they're rolling it." I think it's gonna be I think at this point they're way too far in to not make it, and because they've made it. So I feel like they're not proud of it, and
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just how I feel, and so I feel like they're really gonna push multiplayer, hit that battle pass thing, get those sweet battle pass bucks, and campaign's gonna come out whenever they feel like it's good enough.
You make a good point because the game has gone through they're on their third game lead now, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
you mentioned that, and I'm about ready to flip flop because
Yeah.
it might be a proper mess. So who knows?
Yeah.
I feel the same way as Paul. And this kind of harkens back to, well, one, he said that, yeah, the campaign, we haven't seen anything from it recently. And like Paul said, I don't think they're very proud of it right now. And I also think that, as we discussed, are people really going to want to shell out $70 for the campaign? And I think if they tie in stuff that you get in the multiplayer side of things, if you buy the campaign, I think that's what's going to end up pushing it. So I think I could see the campaign coming out after as a way to get people to buy it for things in multiplayer.
That's actually a good call. Is bundling multiplayer items and or being like, hey, you like these characters? There's a story too if you want it. But yeah, I just feel like 343 got the Halo license. They made Halo 4. Everyone hated it. No, that's not true, but it was not as popular. And then Halo 5 was not as popular. Especially the things in these that people hated the most was the storyline. And I just feel like I think they're ready to get out of here with it. I think they wanted Infinite to be like their big thing where they could come out and get new fans, and then it got shit on. And now I think they're just waiting for this game to come out and get the hell out of Halo. I feel like.
Everyone good to move on? Any final thoughts? Or are we good to move on?
I just want it to be good, man.
I'm really confident.
Slogan for the podcast. It's about Starfield 2. I just want it to be good, man.
I'm really confident in the multiplayer. I really do think that they're going to figure it out. Campaign, I don't know, but I am confident in that. This next segment is a surprise even to our panelists here. This segment is called Name That Game. In Name That Game, I'm going to give the panelists up to 10 clues. The clues start off more vague and progressively get more specific. The first panelist to guess the game correctly wins, but you only get one guess. And if you're wrong, you're out.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Are we prepared to play this game?
I've never been more ready for anything in my entire life.
Let's go, baby.
All right, so if you have the answer, shout it out. If you're wrong, shut the hell up. All right. First clue. This game was published by Nintendo.
Lover.
What?
What?
What'd you say?
Is it Glover?
No, it's not Glover.
Damn.
All right, Paul is out.
Real early just to see if I can.
Glover is the first ever guest on this podcast. All right.
That's what I was going for.
My man Paul casting a wide net here.
If I got it on one, though, how cool would that have been, right? You got to try.
We'd have
Shoot
to
for
end the
moon.
game. Clue number 2. This game was developed by Nintendo. Clue number 3. This game was released for the Nintendo Switch. Clue
So
number
definitely not Glover. I see that now.
See the error of your ways.
Got a little hasty.
This game originally released in 2017. This game holds an astounding score of 97 on OpenCritic.
Got two.
This game was nominated for Game of the Year at the 2017 Game Awards.
Mario Odyssey.
I was gonna say it.
Ding, ding, ding. Mike's the first ever winner.
Because Breath of the Wild won it that year.
Yeah.
Odyssey should have won it. Because Odyssey doesn't have Mario. Break every 5 fucking minutes.
I'm gonna throw Cappy. Cappy broke.
Yep. It's funny that all 4 of us agree on the whole weapon durability thing in Breath of the Wild. And I feel like it's hard to get 4 people together who would agree on that. But it happened. It happened here on Game Groofs. So yeah, Super Mario Odyssey is the first ever answer to name that game. I wanted to go a little bit easier for the first one. The remaining clues would have been the game has sold over 20 million units. The genre is 3D platformer, which hopefully, if no one had got it by that point.
Hat in Time,
What else is
guaranteed.
a 3D platformer, by the way? If you'd said that first, Glover.
It's Glover. That's gonna be the meme answer. Like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Clue number 9 was the game covers various biomes, with one hitting particularly close to home, New Donk City, if anyone's wondering. And the final clue, the protagonist wears a very helpful hat.
I'm just saying, this could have been Hat in Time.
Oh, yeah.
In another universe, this could have been Hat in Time.
Do they wear a glove? Oh, that's all I'm going to say. Last one.
Mario does wear gloves, right? So.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, he does.
Next segment is audience questions. Every week we address 2 or 3 audience questions, comments, or concerns. Since this is episode 1, I've made these questions up myself.
Give a round of applause for our audience here today.
Yes,
really,
yes.
really something.
Thank you. Thank you, audience.
So much.
You anticipated, you read our minds, you knew it was coming. Question number 1, this comes in from Makey McBelieve of Dublin.
I like how you fumbled over your own fake name.
I don't know why it's so funny. Okay.
Did I ask? You have to do it in an Irish accent now. Since they're from Dublin.
I'm sorry for the audio-only listeners right now. All right. The question is, do you believe that VR is the next true frontier in gaming? Whether your answer is yes or no, what do you think comes after? What comes next after VR? So first, let's talk about, do we think that VR is the next true frontier in gaming? Josh, what do you think?
Yes, if hardware gets strong enough, but I think that's going to be like 10 years down the line. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know technological advancements. I don't take my word for it, but it's cool. And it becomes a more feasible option where you don't have like 15,000 different cameras set up around you to have to do all this like cool, neat shit. Like, it'd be great. So, I mean, potentially, just we need better hardware first.
I agree. The worst part, I love PSVR, but the worst part is it's so many cords. There's so much going on. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I would also say yes. God, I'm like a yes but no. Right now, I want to say yes because I've seen what they can do with Resident Evil 7, with Half-Life Alyx, with Boneworks. Like, they're capable of doing really cool, really great things with VR. But I don't know that it's a frontier for gaming per se. It feels like a different medium for gaming, but I don't think it's the future of gaming. I don't think 15, 20 years down the line, everyone's going to be using VR and that's going to be the main way that we play games. I don't think that it's even going to be that large still. I just don't. It just feels too different, I guess. And I think what made Half-Life Alyx and Boneworks work really well is that they treated it differently than other games that have tried to use VR. Like, they gave you a physical presence in the game where you could interact with objects and things had haptic feedback, and when you outstretched your arm, you didn't go through a wall. Stuff like that will push the envelope for VR. But until other developers start doing that and start trying to make it an actual immersive experience and not just, hey, you got the monitor on your face now. I'm gonna say no. If they don't want to take that extra step and that extra work, it's not gonna take off.
I think the biggest hurdle is going to simply be the motion sickness aspect. I have very mixed reactions to VR. First off, I'll say I've never been able to play Portal, and that's not even VR. I've never been able to play Portal because I get sick from trying to play it. I would love to play Portal. I just can't do it. It makes me sick. There are games in VR that I can play for 4 or 5 hours, never feel a thing. I'll take the headset off and have a little minor headache that'll go away in 5 minutes. But there are some other games where I'm just like, whoa, like I can't do this for more than like 20 minutes and I'm out. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles. And I don't know if that's going to be a resolution thing or if that's just the human mind, like simply not able to completely adapt, at least for a lot of people. There are some people where it's not going to affect them at all, but your average person who takes Dramamine when they're getting on a plane is not going to be able to use VR, right? Paul, what about you? What do you think about VR?
Yeah, once again, going on talking about like space optimism and just future optimism in general. I don't know if it's optimistic, so it's kind of terrifying, but I feel as though VR is definitely not the next frontier in gaming, but I definitely think it will be a frontier in everything. I think VR, AR, mixed reality is going to become a big deal over the next few decades. Certainly not this decade, but I would think into the next few decades. It just seems unrealistic that we won't be wearing some kind of glasses or something that can augment our reality, can create art, can create images. We can watch TV that isn't actually on the wall. And I think gaming fits so perfectly into that. I think it's the same thing. It's a similar thing to what you're saying, Mike, in that I don't think that's going to be there unless they push the boundaries of gaming, and I don't think that's going to get pushed until the technology is there for other purposes. So I think once we have more mixed reality, more AR, more VR for just daily life, and it becomes a natural technology that we're used to, then I think gaming will feature into that perfectly, and the technology will be there. But I don't think gaming is going to push VR, rather than eventually VR and AR will push gaming, but much later.
What do we think comes after? Like what's the big technology that we haven't even really gotten to yet, that might we might be talking about it, discussing it, but haven't reached it yet? What would that be?
Well, that's kind of what I was trying to get at with AR, and I think that's kind of it, right? Is that you're in a room, it's your room, but then things start changing about the room. All of a sudden your room becomes a game, but it's still your room. You walk outside, you're on your street, but it becomes a game. Or if you don't like that, it becomes a jungle. I think there's this thing of transforming our entire world into something that is totally different, and I don't think we're that far from that. Like, certainly not now, certainly not 10 years from now, but like 20 years from now, I think we're in a place. Just a quick aside, but there's this book I read recently, where in which they kind of create this virtual reality world where you go in. It's basically like the internet, but you walk around and whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's called An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. And that's an issue in the book, is that there's a lot of people the kind of people who get VR sickness, who get motion sickness, they try to go into it, and basically your brain can't comprehend where your body is, and you just can't use the system. And so there's this like whole sect of society, 10% of the world, that can't go into this new world that is like this internet world. I think that's, like you were saying, just to jump on that, I think that that's a real problem, and I think that's going to happen the more we start seeing these weird magic AR goggles that I'm making up. I think there'll be a lot of people who can't use that kind of technology, and it's going to be really, really difficult for those people.
Interesting. Yeah,
I think so.
Do you think that sort of distant future comes from, implanting something directly into our person?
I do.
Okay. Interesting.
That, yeah.
It's so hard to it's easy to understand that that's what's going to happen, but it's also hard to picture how it's going to happen, Like, who's going to be the first one to volunteer to do something like that? Like, I'm uploading myself to some internet thing. I don't know. It's scary.
I'm gonna let my weeb kind of escape here for a moment.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Because I mean, if you've seen it, you know where I'm going with it. Like you mentioned, putting something like in yourself, like a chip or whatever. I mean, I got mine about 2 months ago, but uh, but Sword Art Online.
Yep.
The idea of playing an MMO, it just you like shut down, you put the headset on, and you go into this world. I I don't know how or when that will ever be a reality, but as much as AR is like this neat concept, to me that's the future of gaming is you just transport yourself into this world and you're able to fully function every aspect. Just sans all of the, potentially dying in the game parts. Uh,
Yeah.
so I that to me is where I could really see it going. And I would love that, but I'm kind of echoing Paul's point. I think 15, 20 years down the line, maybe even with something like that, 30, like I may very well be like 60 years old by the time I can do that. But maybe we'll get there at some point. I think that's a really cool potential step. But AR too, imagine playing Minecraft, AR just in your bedroom or something.
Like Legos, like future Legos.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And Microsoft already showed that off with HoloLens, and it didn't actually work as well as they claim, but it did exist, and it's already something they're working on, and so that's really cool.
Yeah,
it's an interesting thing to think about. Like I said, I think it's easy to imagine that it actually will happen, but it's hard to think about how. Question number 2 from Fakerson Questiones of Argentina.
Is Questiones an Argentinian name, or did they immigrate?
I think it's Argentinian. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I forgot that they were made up people. And I was just like, that's an interesting name, but I guess.
It's a beautiful name, Questiones.
The question is, what dormant game franchise do you wish would come back? And Josh, I'll go to you. I think I know what you're going to say, but I'll go to you.
God. Actually, no. You probably do. I want Jak and Daxter back. Really bad.
That's what I thought.
I mean, there's plenty of other games out there that I would love to see, but I love Jak and Daxter. I love Jak 2, Jak 3, But like, if we could just get the old regular collectathon that was Jak and Daxter back, just like with all the new features that PS5 brings, like give me a Naughty Dog platformer again with all the colorful and upgraded graphics that comes with that. And you'll have me on cloud nine. Jak, like my OG childhood wonder. Like I love that game.
I'll just butt in now because I have the same answer. Jak and Daxter. I want it to come back. I think it will come back.
I hope.
I think that Naughty Dog will set aside a small little group in their studio to work on something, and or they'll just let another studio have the IP. I mean, it's a Sony-owned thing at this point. I think it's going to happen at some point. I know that Naughty Dog was developing one that eventually turned into The Last of Us. They saw that it just looked too weird, I guess, was the internal concern. Like a realistic Jak and Daxter just looked weird to them. But at this point, I think that was at a point where everything had to look realistic, right? Now we have these different art styles. I think they'll find a way to make it work. I think Jak and Daxter is going to be back within the next 6 or 7 years.
It would actually sell the PS5 for me because that alone would do it.
Especially with how well Ratchet's been doing. I think that's it's no secret that that's a cross section of players, right? That those type of people play the same games. So I'd totally see it coming back. Mike, what about you?
Is StarCraft a stagnant game?
I would say.
Good answer.
I would say, yeah.
RTS in general.
I don't know if StarCraft is dead or not. I feel like it is just because of where Blizzard is going. If it's not technically dead, I'd like to see Ninja Gaiden come back, especially with what Team Ninja's been doing, Neo, and the new Final Fantasy Origins game that they put together. Chaos.
I must kill chaos.
Was it cringe? Yes. Did the people who played the demo on Next Fest say that it was great? Also, yes. So I'm hopeful for it. But Team Ninja has really I played all the Ninja Gaidens except for 3. So I played 2 of them. But like 3, when I read reviews, it was like it was lazy, it was rushed, and with seeing how they treated Neo and all this other stuff, it felt like they were trying to exit the franchise. It'd be nice to see them come back with some of the lessons learned. I don't think they will, but it'd be nice to see Ryu Hayabusa back in form.
That's a great pick. I think that like now is the perfect time to bring that back too. I think it would do really well. Paul, what about you?
I think there's been some fantastic answers. I'll say right now, we open on a dark screen, a large tower. We see through the window in the tower, an evil wizard falls to his death. Standing at the window of the tower, a disembodied glove.
Oh no.
Glover. And it just pops up. But
Glover, part 2.
No. Just Glover.
Oh, it's a reimagining.
It's a full reboot. Yeah,
Okay.
It's reimagined. Because before he couldn't take down the wizard. This one, anyway. I think the wizard was actually good. I think the other glove was doesn't matter. StarCraft. I didn't play that much, but I wish they bring Warcraft back as an RTS. They won't, but it'd be cool. After what happened with Remaster, definitely not doing it.
Oh God, no.
Also, and nor do I want whatever they would come out with after showing us what they did with Reforged. I also think Jak and Daxter was a fantastic answer. I love Jak and Daxter so much as a kid. That was one of my favorites. That being said, I'm gonna go real basic with it. I want them to bring back Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Rare is just not the same Rare at all anymore. But I mean, that being said, the feeling of Rare is there. I mean, Greg Mails was still there. He was lead director on, he just took over Everwild. He was lead director on the Banjo-Kazooie games and many other Rare games, Donkey Kong Country. I think there's the talent. Looking at Sea of Thieves, looking at things like that, there's a talent to make a fun game like that. You're looking at things like Yooka-Laylee. Clearly, there's people who want to make platformers like that. We just need the Banjo-Kazooie heart and soul. When Rare Replay came out, I really felt like that was going to be the launching point for maybe not that time, but maybe a year later, something we'd hear something about Banjo. But it just seems like it's kind of stuck in no man's land. So I don't know if we'll ever get another Banjo-Kazooie in true form as a platformer, but that would be my dream.
This like half-hearted rebirth of 3D platformers is so frustrating because it's like we're almost like bringing them all back, but like are not quite there. The Spyro trilogy was so good. Crash got a brand new game. Like we're so close to just getting the band back together. Like let's do it. Let's make it happen.
So close. Honestly, if we don't get a Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts 2, I'm gonna riot.
If we don't unmake Nuts and Bolts 1, I'm gonna riot. I want to go back in time. I'm kidding. It was fine. But it broke my heart.
That's a really good answers for that question. Thank you, Fakerson Questiones, for sending that one in. That brings us to the end and aimless last words. This is a random segment that I just came up with a couple hours ago. I think it could be fun. To give
opposed to all the other well-planned segments.
To give the panelists an example of what aimless last words mean, I'm asking you for your meaningless final phrase for the audience for the week. Mine is this. Games without a jump button are dead to me. Mike, what's your aimless last word?
Oh, you went to me first.
Thank God.
Can I pass?
Never a pass in aimless last words. That's a rule I just made up for Matt's podcast.
I honestly don't know at the moment.
We'll come back to you, Paul.
That's good. That's a good last words, actually. I don't mind.
Okay, I'll accept it for episode 1. Episode 2, you better come back with something. Paul, let's hear it. What's your aimless last word?
I'm borrowing here. Remember that it's you to us, not you to you.
Oh, wonderful, thank you, Josh.
Oh God, this is scary. This is like being called on and like being like, "What's your major?"
Communications. Fuck.
Bro, my major was PR. So we'll break it down and get real serious for a moment. Time spent enjoyed in a video game is not time wasted.
I like that. It just brings me back to this whole idea of like, and we don't have to go into a discussion on this. I just want to bring this up. It's like a pet peeve of mine when people who like watch TV all the time are like, oh, you're wasting time playing video games. It's like, you're doing the same thing. In fact, what you're doing is less interactive. You're thinking less, right? So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the first ever episode of Game Groofs, a podcast on Goodnight
Dad for the
Groofs.
haters. Dad for any 13-year-olds watching. I know how to do this. I look like a Ginyu Force member.
All right. If you want to find more of us, you can go to goodnightgroofs.com. There you'll find the blog. You'll find the GG replay, which is our Monday, Wednesday, Friday news breakdown and recap show. And of course,
join us on the GG replay.
Of course, you'll also find this podcast, Game Groofs, there as well. More coming in the future, but that's what we've got for you right now. Gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me on episode 1. I think it went well.
I think it went swimmingly. Thank you so much.
Wasn't the disappointment that I expected.
Put that on the thumbnail.
We had a talk before this started, Matt, before you joined, about how we had no expectation. We thought this would be the worst thing that ever happened to us. And I think we all came out on the other side feeling better.
I pick my friends well. And with that, we say adios. Take care, guys.
And good night, Groofs.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.